Hands-free! So here we have an example of one of these Bafang wheelbarrow motors actually installed on a wheelbarrow. This is a pretty decked out system using all of the kind of ready to roll kit hardware that we have for e-bikes, but tweaked and modified to fit well in this wheelbarrow application. So for the wheelbarrow motor itself, we design and CNC produce these anodized aluminum mounting brackets. These have a spacing in them that fits perfectly with the bolt holes that are on the commonly available wooden handled wheelbarrows here in Canada. I'm not sure how universal that is, but in any case, lots of flexibility in bolting this on regardless kind of the spacing and the location. You can always readily drill a fresh hole if you need to. And you'll notice that the mounting bracket on the left side of the wheelbarrow actually has 2 extra holes in it here for a disc brake caliper. This wheelbarrow motor has a mounting location for a disc rotor, and this gives the option of installing a mechanical brake as well as a backup. And one of the things about electric wheelbarrows is they enable you to carry much heavier loads than you'd otherwise be tempted to use. And if something happens and your electrical system goes down, it's good to have a mechanical backup to help slow the load down going down a hill. Otherwise, when everything's working great, there's no need. The regen works phenomenally well. So in this wheelbarrow, we're running with 2 LiGo battery packs. So the LiGos are kind of ideal batteries for this application because they're really small and low profile, and that gives a lot of opportunities for where you choose to mount it under the wheelbarrow in a way that's out of the way. And 2 LiGos, 200 watt hours, is plenty of energy capacity for what you would typically need in a day's worth of hauling stuff on a wheelbarrow. It's kind of remarkable how little energy is actually needed to move heavy loads up steep hills when you have a highly geared down motor like this. If you're, a tradesman, running literally all day long with the wheelbarrow, you could add a couple more. But 2 is nice and lightweight and really should serve the average person more than adequately. Now, for controlling the system on here, we just slightly adapted the handle bobs that we make to add throttles to awkward handlebars on bikes, and that provides a little stub extension that we can use for mounting the multifunction switch with the on-off button or for mounting a throttle. If you wanted to mount an actual brake lever, you have to have a slightly more complicated tube arrangement, but that gives us an expedient way of mounting the e-bike control systems to fit on a wheelbarrow in a way that doesn't interfere too much with your usage. So here you got a good grip on the handle, and it's really not that difficult to reach out with your thumb and apply a little bit of juice when you need a little bit of juice. One thing you do want to be mindful of is that wheelbarrows outside on construction sites, there's all kind of stuff around, lots of opportunity to snag wires and cables. So really be sure to tuck all your wiring in an area that's out of the way. Here we just ran some aluminum conduits and just have it fit in there. You could carve a little groove in the wood itself and actually embed the wiring if you want to. And we really recommend keeping all the batteries. I forgot to mention the motor controller is just mounted under here. By keeping all of that stuff in this protected area, then it's least likely to get hit or impacted while you're throwing stuff in and out of the barrow. So on this comprehensive system, I've also got the version 3 cycle analyst, and that enables us to do some pretty fun stuff as far as controlling the wheelbarrow. In the setup here, I've got the 1 throttle for power, but my up and down control is setting the speed limit. And if you look at this, I can tap it up all the way to 9 kilometers an hour or go down to 4 kilometers an hour. And this is limiting, as you'll see, not just my maximum speed, but also the regen speed of the wheelbarrow motor. And what that means is that when I'm moving along, if I set this to 6 kilometers an hour, if I'm hauling uphill, it'll just keep increasing the power to maintain that nice walking speed. Once I crest the hill and go down, the system will automatically start to regenerate and just keep me at that same nice walking speed on the downhill bit. I'm not having to manually adjust how much regen or how much power to stay at a comfortable moving speed. Now over here we have an example of a slightly more simplified bare bones approach. So in this wheelbarrow, the basic installation is very similar with the same brackets, same pair of LiGo batteries just under the top of the wheelbarrow. But here I've got 2 throttle controls, one on the left, one on the right, and I don't have any cycle analyst in here. So without the cycle analyst, I don't have the ability to use some of these advanced features, but the base runner motor controller allows us to have a separate input for braking and throttling. So in this setup, the right-hand one gives me my acceleration, and then if I'm going downhill and I want to use the electric braking, I just use the left-hand throttle. And now there's a very significant braking force that I can modulate on the downhill bit. So that's a little less automatic, more kind of manual control as you're moving along. And if you want a more, bare bones system, it works super well as well. So here we've got 4 55-pound bags of concrete in the wheelbarrow. That's just over 200 pounds, and from experience, that's about the most I can comfortably handle without risk of tipping over. But the motor itself can move even much heavier loads than this. It all, of course, depends on the grade that you're going up. Just be sure not to be tempted to put more in there that you can handle in the event of hitting bumps and rocking sideways. And here, let's just show you how this works. So that used about 4 watt hours from the battery pack in order to move 200 plus pounds of concrete up this 100-meter trail to the end. Given that 2 LiGos is 200 watt hours, that means that we could do 50 trips like that of 200 pounds apiece, which is, what is that, 10,000 pounds of concrete that I could haul from this place to a loading bay off a single charge. So it gives you an idea of just how efficient these little things are. Anyways, for shits and giggles, let's just try moving that without any motor assist. So I'm gonna turn the power off and just see what life would be like in the olden days. And are we ready? Charge! I think it'd be a 2-bag lift.